We gotta talk about it. So G-Fest is right around the corner. It's less than 2 weeks at this point. I always look forward to G-Fest. It's a great time. It's a fun community. And in my experience, the people who go there are wonderful. Attendees are wonderful. We have a great time. Everyone is so sweet. Everyone that I talk to is super sweet. Everyone I interact with, the majority of the people I interact with online are super cool and super nice. I've curated that list because I have been in the online Godzilla fandom for a very long time. Like since 1995 when my dad brought Netscape home and I typed in Godzilla and I found Mark's Godzilla page and Barry's Temple of Godzilla, and I was on the Monster Zero forums, and I've had just lifelong friendships that I've gotten out of this fandom, and this fandom is instrumental in kickstarting my career. And some people do not have that experience. They do not get to say that. They get treated poorly. Usually, it's because of nothing. More specifically, because they're women, or gay, or transgender, or not a white dude who passes for straight. Yeah, I'm not straight. All the way. We'll unpack that another time, but recently there's been a conversation that has come back up again in the fandom, and it's important to have this conversation when it comes up, because there are people who, like I said, have had a bad time and have decided to leave the fandom. Godzilla YouTuber, former Godzilla YouTuber, Alyssa Charpentier, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, apologies if I'm not, made a post on social media stating that she was going to be walking away from the Godzilla fandom. The primary reason being that a lot of dudes were being really gross to her. And that's not good. Then Kaiju Kim made a video following up on that, herself stating that she's getting kind of tired of the fandom and is deciding that maybe she's also going to take a step away. Donnie Winner, friend of the show, just also made a follow-up video standing in solidarity with these women, that if it is their choice to leave the fandom, to walk away from the fandom, that is their prerogative. They're well within their rights to do that. The fact that they have to, that they feel that they have to, is what's frustrating. And it is not their fault. That is the fault of people who have treated them poorly, especially the gross dudes, the gross men who have been treating them poorly and have been sexually harassing people like Alyssa, as well as the people who stand by and don't say anything. I have for a long time advocated for the fact that the Godzilla fandom, like any niche group of people, like any niche sub-community, is a microcosm of humanity itself. It's a vertical slice. Everyone is brought together generally by this one unifying factor, but you get all the baggage that comes with all of those people who all come to this thing for different reasons. And a lot of people, you know, who come to this fandom and have these unique voices, who tend to not be, you know, straight white dudes. I'm sorry, guys, that's what this is about. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. Those voices get silenced, especially when they say, hey, there's a problem. I'm having a bad time. And instead of being supported and told, I'm so sorry you're having a bad time, what can we do to help? By enough people, there are people telling them, well, then leave. Well, then you must be the problem. You must be saying or doing something that's making people treat you this way. You can just leave. You leave this community of like-minded people. Maybe it was something you were wearing. Vitriolic behavior in online fandom is nothing new. We've been dealing with it since the internet was a thing. Since people had the option to be anonymous and say something terrible without having to deal with consequences. And we in the community who don't feel that way, who are not sexist and racist and do our best not to be those things, or homophobic or transphobic, pick your poison. It is up to us to try to help to say something, to not let that sort of stuff happen. It's not going to be possible to prevent it from happening. It's going to happen. But it is important to create this core community to reject those notions. I remember when recently, you know, and sometimes I'll see it in action. There was something on Twitter. I know, God forbid, that basically somebody was essentially trying to hijack this narrative, trying to hijack the Godzilla narrative to push really ugly views, trying to hijack the Godzilla fandom, and the Godzilla fandom, or at least this particular section of it that saw what he was doing, rejected him, ejected him out, pushed him out like a virus. And I was very proud in that moment. Now, granted, there was probably more to it than that, you know, but I feel like this community is capable of doing good and protecting its more vulnerable members. And I feel like the community could always be doing more. We should be, you know, because like I said, you know, that's just my experience. And if your experience says, oh, the Godzilla fandom is great, there's just, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no systemic racism or systemic sexism or whatever. Granted, these are, of course, broader topics because, again, a fandom is a microcosm of a community that it's born out of, the communities that it's born out of. And, of course, you know, of course these things happen. And we need to do better to see it, see something, say something. That's not okay. I don't like that you said that. I don't like that. I don't like what you're implying. I'm thankful that the Godzilla fandom is not as big as something like the Star Wars fandom. God forbid. Because the stuff that the Star Wars fandom has to put up with and that the totally normal, totally not crappy Star Wars fans have to deal with is staggering. I want no part of it. The Godzilla fandom is much smaller. So the community is tighter, more people know each other. It should be easier to say, that's not okay. I don't like you talk to my friend that way. Or not even my friend, just this person, this human being. And so it's just, I appreciate you guys bearing with me because I'm doing this completely off the cuff. I don't have a script. I've done some practice videos, but before this, but I am just doing this off the cuff. I will be linking the other videos in the post, in the comments below and stuff. But with G-Fest just around the corner, I did want to say this. Now, as I said, G-Fest, I love going to G-Fest. It's a great time. I have a great time. I am fortunate enough to be able to say that. I have the privilege of being able to say that. There are lots of people who go to G-Fest, and maybe they're having a good time until someone, usually a dude, makes them feel uncomfortable. Or maybe intentionally calls them by their wrong pronouns, or starts stalking them, or just being gross and weird. And if that happens, if you're watching this and that happens to you, you come talk to me, or you talk to Caston. We'll be at our table as much as we can be. And our table is and always has been a safe space. You feel uncomfortable, come talk to us. If you feel like you don't really want to make a fuss, you just need to vent, come talk to us. If you feel like you can't talk to like a volunteer, for example, you know, the responsible thing to do is to tell a volunteer, but if you feel like that's not enough, come talk to us and we'll make sure it gets run up the chain. We'll make damn sure that people know what's going on. I'm really looking forward to the event. I'm looking forward to seeing people, you know, and sharing this experience with everyone. It is a community, and a community is supposed to make people feel safe. And there are people in this community who do not make people feel safe, and that is unacceptable. We're not going to erase that, but we can't keep an eye out for it, and we can protect those who get targeted by these people. I'm going to go work on commissions. Thanks, everybody. And like I've said before, we're all in this together. We've got to try to take care of each other. Life is hard enough without trying to make it harder for other people and make it harder for each other. Let's build each other up rather than tear each other down. Love you guys.